Hello YouTube friends, welcome to The Last Homely Garden, and I'm back here with Ant again. Now, I wonder if you remember when we were doing the green roof, if you've seen that video, that was standing up the ladder and I said, I don't think I've got any more big projects.
You did, that's right,
I did, but this is his idea, not mine. So, what's this idea?
Well, I've been nipping across and cutting the grass, and it's all very little paths and trying to get in between the raised beds, and there's some wilding bits where we're wanting wildflowers to come away and it just hasn't happened. And obviously with the grandbairns getting older, I thought, why don't we open this up as an area of grass, and that way it'll be easy to cut, it'll open the garden up, but you'll still have your wild looking parts.
But it'll be easier to maintain.
Very easy to maintain.
So this was his idea. This is nothing to do with me. I've ordered a swing set for the grandkids because, as you say, they're getting older.
Yeah.
Nearly 5 and 2 1-year-olds. And so I was saying to Ant, where can I put this swing set? Can I put it here? Can I put it here? And he came up with this idea. Now, the front garden here, I haven't had help in the garden since early spring. And so Ant's been very kindly coming over with his ride-on mower, which is kind of startling when this thing's driving around. But as he says quite rightly, it's hard to navigate through this area because there's so many obstacles.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why there are raised beds in the front here was that when I kept hens, I didn't have anywhere to grow vegetables. So I had these beds so that I could grow veg in them, and they've been fantastic for years.
Yeah.
But now that I no longer have hens, I can grow veg in what I call the hen run garden, which is like loads of raised beds, a little allotment. And these are surplus to requirements now.
Yeah. And I think now they're becoming a hindrance rather than a help. And if we take them out, cut the grass, create a lawn.
Well, this is the problem. We've been having this problem because I don't want a lawn. I don't want a traditional looking garden. But when Ant started painting this idea of, well, the swings could go here and you could mow around the grass here and you could sit here, it sounded idyllic. It really did. And just to say that Ant used to, you still do, a lot of landscaping.
Yeah. I design gardens as well, and we do a lot of the hard and soft landscaping. We go totally transform people's gardens. We go from slopes and banks to terraces and everything in between. So I think this will just open up a small area of the garden so it can be slightly manicured, but overgrown as well at the edges.
These are the words I'm struggling with: manicured, lawn, because I've never thought of myself as having that kind of formal garden. But then when I think about it from Ant's point of view, this makes total sense. I mean, I think the changes we've made in this garden to put a path in and a gate down the side,
absolutely,
which has opened that side of the garden up.
Yeah.
Prior to the pond and the cabin and this path here, I never really paid much attention to that side of the garden.
And also what it'll do is, because you have such a lovely area down the bottom, it'll draw your eye down the garden, and it'll access more areas. Right. You know what I mean? It'll bring them into your garden and your view now as well.
I understand exactly what you mean.
So I think it'll be awesome once it's
we're
done.
in July as we're filming this, and we're filming it inside. I'm going to take you outside in a second because it's quite windy today, so the mic would pick up a lot of wind noise. But the growth at this time of year means that the whole garden is just like a wall of green.
Yeah.
And so it's beautiful on one level, but on another level it does feel quite claustrophobic because you can't see past it.
Definitely.
And so we're going to be opening some areas up.
Well, I think this will create a nice green oasis in the middle of all your wildflower and your wild areas that's just slightly tamed.
Yes.
You know? I don't think it's going to be manicured with an inch of its life. But it'll be slightly tamed, and it'll be easier for you to use and the grandbairns to run about on enjoy it, you know?
It's that part, really. It's so that the kids can play when they come. And it was 100% Ant's idea. I'm completely on board with it. I think it's wonderful. And so what we're going to do today is a few structural things we're going to move. We feed the birds in the top garden here.
Yeah.
And I spend a lot of time down in the cabin, so I'm actually going to move... And I are going to move the bird feeders down to the pond. so that when I'm sitting at the cabin I can see the birds from there.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's going to be the site around about there of the swings.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're going to then take up these 3 raised beds, which are pretty much full of weeds now, because I have too many places to grow vegetables. So, and can you think of any other structural things we're going to do?
Not at the moment.
Apple trees.
Yeah, we're going to circle the apple trees. All it is we'll dig the grass off, turn the soil over, and keep a nice clean area around them so it's easy to cut and easy to trim, and they'll look focally really, really nice, you know what I mean?
I think that's the thing we're going to see at the end of this project. It's going to be the transformation from a pretty overgrown, unused garden to something quite manageable, clean looking.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to show you now. Fresh, lovely, easy to manage.
Easy to manage, very easy to manage.
Because that's my big deal now. The older I get, you know, the easier it has to be to manage. We've got some pretty flowers in the garden, but I would like there to be hundreds more of those. So that'll be a thing to figure in to where we put things.
Well, I think what you find as well is sometimes until it's done and you suddenly develop an open area of green, your borders suddenly enhance that. But also you'll see plants that you didn't think would suit that'll suddenly go in there and they'll prosper and they'll look fantastic. You know, the colours will really stand out compared to being amongst all the overgrown stuff that's on top of them, you know.
And so I'm excited to see where this will go, because I suppose you envisage this. I'm seeing sort of like a square of lawn with flower beds around the outside, a traditional sort of suburban garden.
Absolutely
I really don't want that.
Absolutely
We're not going to end.
Well, you see, you've got a helleborus that we can't see.
Yes, exactly.
Once the grass is cut and sorted and that's planted into a border somewhere near the grass, then, you know, you'll get all the colours off it when it flowers and everything else.
Exactly.
You know? So,
we'll be able to see the things that are hidden.
Definitely.
One of the things that I love very much is the bistort that self-seeds itself there, right there in the middle of what is now going to be our grass area.
Yeah.
And so there's a thought that we might look at that and think about moving that somewhere. So there's quite a lot of jobs to do. And it is 100% his fault. So I'm not behind this one at all. He is. But I think that it's going to be really interesting to watch this develop. Let's go outside. This is the garden channel. Let's go and have a look at the garden. Come on, Ant. Let's do that. Out we go. Just look at how windy the garden was, which is why I didn't want to film outside. You can see the trees moving around. I had a bit of a struggle getting the drone to stabilise while I took these pictures of how the garden looked before this process started. So those raised beds are coming up there now. And the wild areas that Ant was talking about there, in front of the bird feeders, have just been left to grow, hoping that, you know, it might become a bit of a wildflower haven. But in fact, it's just been weeds, nettles, and all of that. So it's not fit for purpose anymore, this garden. And so now, after this process, it is going to be. Wow, what a great day's work. So, tell us what you've done.
Well, as you can see, the raised beds have gone. They were fairly past their best. And then what I did was I cut all the long grass and stuff that was down the bottom, cut all that down, I mowed it down, and then levelled the whole garden as best we can with what soil we had, so that now when we're mowing over it there's no dips and hollers, and we'll get the grass seed on tomorrow, and round under the trees we'll be able to keep that cut short once the grass comes through.
So this is just amazing. So you say grass seed on tomorrow?
Yeah, we'll put the grass seed on tomorrow.
I'm going to move the bird feeders now. So this bird feeder, a lovely guy called Arthur put it in for me. The plan now is to take it out and put it down, or put another structure a bit like it down near the pond, because this is where the swings are going to go. So I think it'll come out really easily. Yeah, it looks like it will. So do you want to get one side of it and we'll see if we can get this out? So
Well done, look at that.
That wasn't as big a job as we thought it was going to be. So I'll take this down to the pond, and we may reuse the top bit.
Possibly.
But these bits are a little bit old and
past their best.
past their best.
Yeah.
So that's it's been lovely having the bird feeder here, but it's going to be super down by the pond. So I'm down by the cabin now, and the pond, and in the comments I often see the comment about how are you going to keep the pond from getting stagnant, especially as the goose lives on it, and you know, it was sort of like no moving water going into it, but Ant's just fixed that now, and I'm going to get him to tell you what he's done.
Well, as you know, the lake's up behind the house. There's nothing better than lake water for a pond. So what I've done is we've put a blue pipe, this is alkathene pipe, and we've run it from the lake all the way down. I've piped it in all the way, and we've put a tap about 5 yards back off the end here, and that way we can run fresh water into the pond when it's required. If the water levels drop, then we can switch the tap on, and we have a 14-acre lake which we can fill up from, so we're not going to pinch too much of the water, you know.
And the lakes, as I keep mentioning, is higher than the level of the pond.
Yep, so it's just gravity fed, you know, there's no mechanics involved at all, apart from physics, which
awesome,
works
absolutely
a treat, you know?
Awesome.
So it's there on tap for us now, and we can leave this running for a couple of days. It'll flush all the old water out, yes, fresh water in.
Because we've got an overflow at the opposite end of the pond, which is where the water will flow out and into the ordinary council drain.
Yep, into the ditch, yep, and it'll all run away, you know, so it'll be absolutely... As well, because we've got a lot of pond life now, there's little frogs in and there's boatmen and stuff like that on. With it being lake water rather than tap water, there's no chlorines or anything in it, so it's all as good as you can get, you know, it's running in out of the lake and perfect.
Perfect. Thank you. We had a lovely surprise when my little grandson came to visit. Aunt showed him some of the frogs. What do you think, Emil? And he enjoyed it. And so, is that all in now?
That's it. Grass seed's all on. With the new grass seeds, they have a deterrent mixed in with the grass seed. It's a chemical that's sprayed on, and it deters the birds from eating it. But it's not 100% guaranteed. So what we'll do is, once it's on, we'll lightly rake the seed in, and also that prevents, if you get a downpour of rain, it stops it all washing away, you see.
The patch,
yeah. The way our weather's been, we'll get any amount of rain.
And so I just said to Aunt, do I need to get the hose pipe and water this in? And we both looked at the sky and said, no,
definitely not. Not
today. Not
absolutely.
Today. Okay, so tell us what sort of a grass it is.
Well, this is a mixture, high in ryegrass, and it's a leisure grass seed. So it's hard wearing. The higher the ryegrass content, the harder wearing your lawn is. So it has less fescues in, which you get on golf courses and stuff like that, because they grow low and they don't withstand. You get a finer finish to them, whereas the ryegrass is a bit rougher grass, but it's very hard wearing. So you use that for leisure football fields and stuff like that. You see. So because this is going to be for the children, kids to run about on as well. But also, I mean, if it's mown short, there's enough fescues and stuff in this grass seed where it'll give you a fine lawn as well if you want that, you know.
I think it's going to be interesting to look back at this in a few weeks' time and see how this has come and how this bit's being managed. I think it looks fantastic.
Just give it a very light, and you probably bury about 50% of the seed.
So Aunt raked the seed in, and I watched the sky for the next few days to see whether I needed to water it or not. But I really didn't. We've had such a lot of rain, and this is what the pond looked like, and the garden. So we've done a lot this last 2 days. It's been amazing. Really looking forward to seeing how the grass comes in that area there. Loads more to happen around the pond. We're doing a little bit of planting now and then, but there'll be some more, won't there?
Added 1 or 2 bits of the bistot that come up the front lawn, and then I think we've got some irises up at mine. I've got a pond lily as well, and some monbretia and stuff. The kind of plant as well that'll bring dragonflies and stuff to it as well, like, you know.
Okay.
So
those bistot have taken really well around the edge of the pond, and Eileen loves her nice clean water. It's about 10 days since I recorded all of this footage for you, and just look at how amazing the grass is now. I'll show it you again once it's had 2 or 3 mowings and once the swings are in place, but I think we've got the makings of a lovely garden. Thank you so much for watching. Please put your notifications on because I post now and then to this channel, not to a schedule. And thank you so much for watching.